Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome you to our webinar regarding the use of voice bots for our outbound call automation. My name is Ludvika Moravcova. I'm the head of customer success at Digital, and today I'm joined also with Michal Rucho, our chief product officer.
Hello, everybody. Looking forward to our discussion.
And what we will actually like to share with you today are our experiences and the lessons that we've learned and have been learning in the last 5 years regarding the outbound voice bots, how to use them, and mainly how to make sure that they fulfill not only your business strategy, but also keep the high customer satisfaction score. So, first of all, let me please remind you that we are being recorded. But what you can be looking for in the next 45 minutes. We will talk a little bit more how the voice bots works in general. Then we will be talking about the application of outbound calling. And then finally, benefits of using the voice bot, best practices. There will be some live demo, and also we will have the Q&As as well. So let me try to share my screen, and we will go from there. Sorry, a little bit issue here. Good. So, Misha, if I can ask you to jump in here and tell us a little bit more on how the voice bots are being used.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Vicky, for the introduction and for the opening words. So basically, as a first part of this webinar, we would like to discuss about what are good voice bots, right? Because probably all of you already met voice bots, chat bots, various types of them used for different use cases, and they are good ones and they are also bad ones. And also, if voice bot is not done properly, it can destroy customer experience, and it may even not bring desired benefits. Also, when we are talking about voice bots, there are several elements which are giving the complexity much higher value compared to the chatbot. So first, very important part of the powerful AI voice bot is intent analysis. What does it mean, intent analysis? It means basically the voice bot needs to understand what you are saying, needs to understand what you are either asking or replying, so he can give you the best possible, let's say, either answer or follow-up questions, so he can get to the bottom of your problem. A lot of us experience, let's say, simple chatbots where you are just clicking through the buttons and accessing the information via clicking away, and this is actually not good, right? So you can do a very limited number of answers like that, and also the customer experience, we are way over that now. Okay, so and how to build the intent recognition, and how we can do very good intent recognition with our platform is basically you have 4 main elements how to understand the intent. So you can still very old method. You can use keywords, which is very old but also very good sometimes, very handy. Then you can build a training set, and during the demo I will show you how does it look like. Because for the training set you are building your own models to understand the intents, also with the voice, not just with the chatbot. Then you can also use conditions to move in the conversation, because sometimes you don't need to really understand what the user is saying. You just need to, let's say, extract the entity, like for example, date or time, etc. So you can use conditions, and last but not least, you can use also generative AI now. Very big hype. It's also fully integrated in our platform, and you can lean on this generative knowledge, so we don't have to train anything. Very handy when you need to build your voice bots very quickly, and you don't have that many intents to use. As I said, in our platform, you can combine all of them, because that is bringing, let's say, in our experience, the most benefits. From one of the big customers in Slovakia, we are seeing that combining generative AI and old methods to understand intent, we could bring the intent recognition to 98%, which is already, let's say, a very high number. Who knows what we are talking about? Okay, the next feature is personalization, because now the customer experience is very important. So if you are building just the FAQ voice bot and FAQ chatbot, is not really helping anyone now, because people can find a lot of information online. And also, if they are calling already, or we are calling them, is usually not a simple matter of FAQ. So what we need to do is we need to be able to connect to your systems and use the information about the customer we have, so we don't have to ask them. So this is also rule number 2 when we are talking with the clients. We need to get all the data about the customer we can have, so we can use them in the conversation. What we support in the platform is also like by the configuration, we support REST APIs, which is basically now a very common standard for integration to the backend system. If we move further about, let's say, what are the powerful features of good voice bot, is also ability to access the agents, the human operators, because we believe that voice bots are not here to fully replace humans. They are here to augment the customer service we are providing to them. So basically, what does it mean? Let's say we need to serve the customer's problem as soon as possible, and it may mean that the voice bot can, let's say, serve the problem. So it's the best because it's very quick. It's working 24/7, and you don't have to wait on the line. But some questions cannot be solved just via the voice bot. So you need to be able to very quickly understand what are let's say such topics, and then connect them to the human operator, also with as much information as you can from the conversation. Because if it should be natural, then the human operator needs to know what we've talked about with the voice bot, and you need to take care of that also. Okay. Also, what's good about this, that this is a win-win situation. So customer is happy because he solves his issue as quick as possible. Human agents, operators are happy because they are used for the value-added work. They are not used, let's say, to 25 times repeating how the invoice can be downloaded. And also, VoiceBot is happy because when customers are happy, VoiceBots are happy as well. Next part about powerful features to use when building a VoiceBot is basically being able to wait and listen. Because as I said at the beginning, comparing VoiceBot to chatbot, the complexity is much higher due to the fact that we are having only the voice interaction. So we are just relying on what the customer is saying. And when you are building your conversation design, you need to, let's say, behave differently when you are having closed questions, because usually the response is quick, the response is short, and also customer is not used to, let's say, wait a long time. If the response is short and that's it. With the open questions, when customer needs to think a little bit about what he wants to answer, especially with campaigns, when we are reaching the customers out, we need to give them a space to express themselves. So again, you should not apply the default settings when you are expecting close response. You should enhance a little bit the behavior of the voice part. So let's say we give space to the customer to express what he needs. He may, let's say, even use longer pauses because he's thinking about his response, etc. And also being able to build the voice bot very quickly, you need to have the platform which enables you to do that quite quickly. And again, question per question. And the last part about, let's say, building a good voice bot is definitely generative AI. It changed the world in the last year. And of course, we are using also whatever we can from the generative AI to help the voice bots in all the areas we discussed. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we can use intent analysis and we can increase the quality of intent analysis using generative AI. We can enhance the personalization by giving instructions to large language models, since it understands the common world, to, let's say, prepare the answers, not just having static messages, but also to prepare the answers for the customers. We can analyze better when we need to connect to the agent because the satisfaction is maybe not good. There are some problems, and we do not just want to count the counters, how many times we did not understand, to be able to human operator. And also we can use generative AI and the advances we made also for, let's say, much nicer voices for the voice bots, custom voices. I think this year will be a lot about building voice bots with custom voices quite easily. So basically that's it from me on the 5 main, let's say, aspects of building a good voice bot. And now we would, let's say, talk a little bit about the application and use cases you can build with the voice bots from the Outbound channel.
Thank you, Micho, for the start. Maybe let me just remind the audience that you can use the comments in the LinkedIn to ask any questions. We will make sure to answer at least some of them at the end of the webinar. And if we don't have time to answer them all, we can definitely follow up online. So please feel free to comment there, and we will get back to your questions at the end of the webinar. And now to the applications and the use cases. So there are some of the 6, let's say, the most common use cases that we wanted to talk about here today. I will go one by one, but internally, we don't want to clip your imagination. I'm sure that you will be able to think of other use cases that might be applicable for your business and for your business needs. So let's first go to the lead qualification for the sales. Pretty much in this use case, we are calling the database of our customer and we ask specified questions. This is mainly to clean, let's say, the database, to make sure that we promote to the human person, to the human salesperson, only the people who are at least slightly interested about that. So we don't waste time of human colleagues trying to reach someone who's unreachable, trying to reach someone who doesn't want to talk with you at all. What is the opportunity here is that the voicebot can automatically update your CRM system to leave a note. So the human salesperson can know how to follow up and when to follow up, or we can already schedule the follow-up calls. Let me try to play a short outbound call rather than pre-qualification so you can better imagine how that might sound like.
Hi Diana, I'm a virtual agent from Born Digital and I see that you're interested in seeing the house at Baker Street. It's a great property. I have just a few questions for you to make sure I can help you. Do you have about 5 minutes now?
Hi, yes I do.
What is your time frame to buy a property?
I'd like to buy it by the end of the year.
Excellent. What is your budget?
Around £700,000.
Great. Can I email you some additional properties that match your criteria?
Yeah, that would be great.
Great, those are all the questions I have. I'm going to make an appointment for the property right now, and I'll send the details to the email that you used to submit the form.
So as you can hear, there was an option to fill in some of the questions to make sure that the lead is really qualified, that we know what the lady is looking for, and we can better match their expectations in there. We even know that she's interested in that. So that's one of the used application regarding the lead qualification. The second one is about the recruitment. So it's mainly to make sure that you can scan the candidates to make sure that you understand what they are looking for and you can match the opportunities for them. Or on the other way around, you can also provide some information about currently open positions. In general, in this use case, we see about 50% of the recruiters' time saved and to make sure that we fulfill all the roles that are needed. The next application I would like to talk about is telemarketing. Here, you're pretty much reaching out to your customers. So you already have the database, they know you know them, and you can reach out to them for some potential to upsell. So you have much more information about them rather than the lead management when you are applying quickly, you might not really know. And here, with the integration for the voicebot, you can use all this information that you gathered about these people to make sure that you promote the product that's up to their needs and to make sure that they know what they are talking with you and that they know also that you know them. In this particular application, we see about 5% of the customer reactivation and 2% sales conversion of banking products. And another one that might not be that funny, but definitely helpful as a debt collection. Pretty much you are reminding the people there is some kind of a debt or payment needed. So you are not extracting any detail from them, but you are using, again, the information that you have in your CRM system to make sure that you give all the needed information. So you can reach out to your end customers and let them know how much is being owed or how much needs to be repaid, if they can do it in installment payments or if it needs to be all done at once. Quite often we see a huge decrease in customers that are actually going to the collection brokers because they just forgot or they were not even aware of a debt. So as soon as you remind them, or you can actually offer them to be transferred to the live operator who can finish the whole payment with them. It's a very nice option for these people. Finally, we are going to the survey. So pretty much just to collect feedback about your services and products. We all been there. We all know how it can be tedious to go through the questionnaires and to answer all these questions from most likely to very unlikely and so forth. So why not to have a voice bot who can sound like a real person asking all these questions and collecting the feedback? What you can do is directly automate the feedback into the analytics, and you can save quite a lot of time that the real humans would have collecting those feedbacks. Also, with the surveys done by VoiceBot, you don't need to worry about bias. So the VoiceBot is always smiling, is always happy, is always saying what they should, and they are not being distracted by people who are maybe giving a negative feedback. Another use case we'd like to talk about today is the informational. You can inform your customer about some news or what's been happening. So if your business is depending on the weather and the weather is turning really, really bad, then you need to let your customers know that they might not have a chance to ski on your slopes today. Or if you need to inform them that there's a new legislation that they need to follow a new process. So that's something that increases not only your awareness, but also the NPS score and the customer satisfaction. Also, what you can do is to remind them about some kind of an event that they need to attend or what they need to bring with them. When it comes to the information on outbound voice bots, you don't need to use them only for your end customers, but they can be nicely used also within the organization. For example, there's a technical issue and the voice bot directly calls all the people who should know about it that there is an emergency. So we covered the most of the use cases. So let's now talk a little bit more why we should use the voice bot. As you see from the numbers, we're speaking kind of for themselves. But just to sum it up, first of all, you can scale operations. The voice bot can do 20, 30, 50 calls in parallel. You can make sure that the contact is done on a speed, on time, let's say. So as soon as someone books something on your website and you need to follow up, you can follow up within 10 minutes automatically. Also, if someone is trying to reach you back, so they have like a missed call, they can do it even at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. The voice bot can always pick up, so you have it available 24/7. And finally, as I mentioned before, you can focus on qualified leads. So you kind of make sure that the professions that are working for your company, the human colleagues, actually focus on only those qualified leads, and they don't spend their time on someone who's definitely not interested or even won't pick up the call. And as I mentioned with the NPS score, this is definitely eliminates bias because VoiceBot can't be angry, they can't be shouting if you don't want him to. Let's talk a little bit more about the best practices. So how to build the outbound VoiceBot so you actually manage all these expectations and that it really helps out. First of all, you need to be super great with the opening message. If it's not interesting enough right at the beginning, no one is going to listen to it. So make your time, spend time on your wording and to make sure that you actually have the great opening message that will make sure that the person you are calling will actually stay online. Michal already mentioned something about personalization of the voice bot, and this is super important. You need to define your persona. You need to make sure that the voice bot fulfills the needs also from the personal point of view and from being nice or being loud or being funny. So define your persona. As I mentioned before, with the debt collection, you probably don't want to have a happy voice bot. So make sure that this matches your use case as well. Keep it short. That's one of the best practices that they find out. Even the best voice bot, even the funniest one, if you ask more than 5 questions in general, you are not going to get to the end with many people. Hand off at the right time. That's also super important to always have an option to either leave a message or hand over to the real human colleagues who can maybe handle some more difficult questions that the person you are calling is able to ask of. So got as much qualification as you need, but make sure that you hand off all these details at the right time to the human colleagues. What is super important is to actually schedule the follow-up. So this is not the process of the voice bot, but a process within your whole company. You need to make sure that if the voice bot creates a lead and during their creation mentions that someone will contact that person within 2 working days, this person definitely should be contacted in 2 working days. So make sure that whatever voice bot promises, there's definitely a follow-up and it's in a timely manner. And finally, make it conversational. So in this time, and as you could hear, the voice bots can sound super close to the human. So make sure that you're making it sounding as a real person would be calling. On the other hand, our strict recommendation is to always introduce the voice bot as a virtual persona or digital assistant. So we also follow the rules set up for the AI at the moment. Okay, before I hand over the screen again to Michal for his building of the voice bot, just a few brands that we've been working on and working with in cooperation in the last few years. So maybe if you get a call from one of these companies, it could be our voice bot speaking. And now, Michal, over to you.
Thank you. Okay, and now let's do a little bit of a demo. Very easy one. So let's say you all can see and understand what I've been talking about. We will prepare, let's say I prepared a simple voice bot or which I will enhance a little bit. And also we will show you how to use our platform to even create a campaign and call the desired customers with whatever we've built in the way. So I'm having a small project here, which I created, let's say, a few hours ago. And I'm going to show you, let's say, what basic flow I have there. So basically, what does it mean building voice bots? It's basically building the conversation flow you want the voice bot to follow. As I said, this is very simple one. So I have some intro message. And since I'm calling to the customer, then I'm introducing myself and explaining to the user why we are calling or what we are calling about. As we said, the first message is very important. So what I'm using here, I'm even using the client name. If the client name is, let's say, is there, so we know the client name. And also I'm very quickly stating what I'm calling about. This is actually very, very important because when calling via the voice bots with the campaigns, people usually tend to hand off the calls, let's say, more because they don't feel bad about the call, about hanging up the call to the voice bot if they know that the voice bot is called. So intro message very, very quick, and also, let's say, trying to build a trust since, let's say, I'm calling and knowing the name. Also, maybe what would be good, but then it depends on how long you want the first message to also maybe tell from which company I'm calling, if the company is recognized, let's say, or the customer knows the company, etc. And right away, so very simple one, as I said. So I'm just asking, how are you feeling today? And then I have this intent recognition here, which we discussed is very important part of the good voice bot because they need to be able to understand, especially for voice, since you don't have buttons to click through, etc. So I built at the beginning two very basic intents. So I'm feeling okay, and I'm feeling bad. For what I used is I used the large language model recognition. So I didn't build any training sets. I just explained to the large language model what, let's say, what is the meaning of the intent. So feeling okay, I'm just saying I'm feeling good. And for the intent, I'm not feeling good. I'm just saying, okay, so this intent for me means I'm not feeling good. I'm using generative AI, and this is very, let's say, it's as easy as this. So you just state what is the meaning of your intent, and since the generative AI is trained on the up-to-date data, it understands the common road. It understands what does it mean I'm not feeling good. If you need, and if you have, let's say, much more intents, what you can do is you can even provide a description, some few, let's say, examples for what some specific intent means for you. As I said, for each question, you can combine all the methods of building the understanding. So you can define the training sets, you can use generative AI, you can use keywords, and you can use conditions, all in one question. So you can combine them, and based on the process you are, let's say, following, you can build them. Also, what's important is to have good fallbacks. So if you don't understand, then you should be able to define. Let's say you should let's say be able to ask again, etc. So you can set up fallbacks here. But what I will show you as, let's say, the next round is how to enhance the voice bot. So you don't even have to use responses like, I'm sorry, I cannot help you, I need to train a little bit more, etc. So this is a little bit already old school. But let's try first. So basically I have two intents. I'm feeling okay, I'm feeling bad, and then I have some fallback. Even though we are building a voice bot, all the time in our platform, you can test the voice bot also using chat. So you don't have to, each time you don't have to call the number, you don't have to wait through the messages, etc. So what I will try today is to check the chatbot, how it would respond. The voice bot would be the same. Then I will update the logic a little bit, and then we will show how to trigger the campaign, and I will actually call with the question. So since, let's say, I'm not having any metadata because I did not integrate to any CRM, but the metadata can be inputted with the phone numbers I'm calling to. So we will show you how. So I'm not using the name because it's not there. So I'm just asking, I'm calling to check on you, how are you feeling today? So let's try, I feel okay. Yeah, something like that. So I feel okay. Sorry, I'm not writing. I feel okay, but would, let's say, I feel okay, but a little bit tired and feverish, right? Whatever. So let's see how it would understand. Okay, so it understood that I'm feeling not good. So it even distinguished between that. It is said that I'm feeling okay, but there is additional context which, let's say, overweights the feeling okay. So it just giving me some static answer which I defined in the answer. But for example, if I start again and let's say I say something different, for example, I need an advice, then it would not understand me, and we are going to this fallback, which is usually not very good for the customer experience, because then they have to state again, and so on and so on. So what I will try to do now is to try one more intent, to add one more intent, and also define fallbacks to go to this intent using generative AI to be able to answer all types of questions customers can have. So what I'm doing, let's say I will build the intent advice. So for example, need advice. I will be using generative AI for this intent. And let's say use meaning. I will just quickly copy paste. I need an advice, so it understands I want to go further. So I have the new intent here. As I said, I also don't want fallbacks to appear anymore. So I'm reducing the count on fallbacks to 0, and I will define also what should happen when any of these intents will be understood. So since I have a new intent, I need to build the flow. So I'm adding AI node, which is basically the generative AI. And for the AI node, I will just define the behavior, what the voice bot should do. So order, for example, or advice. And I'm building just the instructions. So we are always using be brief in your answers because, especially with the voice bot, nobody wants to listen for a very long time. And I prepared for myself very simple prompt to use here. So I'm using be brief in your answer. So I'm explaining it's a little bit like a role play. So you are a voice bot who gives an advice, who is here to give an advice. If question about mobile phone arise, prefer Apple devices in the response, address me with my name, which is, and I'm using again variable from the campaign. So also the generative AI can use my name and address. Again, at the end, what I can do is end with a goodbye, since our logic is, let's say, will be following to the end. And here the user message is basically whatever I say in the I don't have to, let's say, go through the setup, because with our platform, usually what we try is we try to define default settings the best as we can, so they can be applied to, let's say, most common use cases. And only after you need, you can tweak, and we can even explain and provide the documentation how you can tweak the AI. Okay, so I have let's say new path here. What I also wanted to do is that I wanted to also send fallback to this AI node, because even if I say something different, the AI node should understand my question and, let's say, respond to something. So I'm sending the fallback to the AI advice part. So it goes the same way. Also, what I want to do after that, usually we want to, let's say, have some status. So we know in the export or in the CRM system, we know how the campaign finished. So let's say we will build a function now to set status of the call. So we will just set up the variable business result which we are using. Let's say advice or general answer provided. And now I will send the conversation to update the campaign details at the end of the call. So now we have updated the voice bot. We can save it as a new version, but we don't even have to. And what we can do is we can change the logic with the updates we did and try to trigger the campaign. Okay, my computer freezed a little bit. So I will save a new version. So new intent added, for example. So I can go back to the previous version if I want to. And when it is saved, I will change the logic, test a little bit, let's say, with the chatbot. So I did everything right, and then we will try to trigger a campaign. Okay, so the chatbot is working. So, for example, I'm feeling great. Okay, so it still understands. I didn't break anything. And now I may try to say something, for example, what is the weather today? Okay, and since it's a fallback, let's say, so it goes to the same AI node as it would go with the advice, but it's saying that I don't have real-time weather updates. You can check your preferred weather app. So still gives an answer. Since we are building a voice bot, we then need to be able to call the customers, or let's say our customers can be able to call us. So we need to deploy the version or the, let's say, prepare the conversation to some phone number or PBX extension, whatever you are working with, and we can do that directly from the platform via deploy version. So here I would have, let's say, all of the extensions I can use for the voice bots I have in the company or in the PBX, and I can set up what is the behavior of the voice. So we have the voice settings here. You can choose speech to text, text to speech provider. A lot of settings you can use. So once we have the logic deployed to some phone number, then we can trigger the campaign and call the customer. And I will try to do that now. Okay, it is deployed. So now I'm ready to move to the campaigns. For that, in the operate section, we have the campaign step, where you can create your new campaigns, or you can even copy the ones you already did if you are, let's say, repeating and you are doing some batch campaigns, etc. So that's what I will try to do. So I have this previous campaign which was run, let's say, in the morning, and I will create a copy. So everything will be copied from the original one, so I don't have to fill up again. I can rename. So, for example, new campaign. I'm using this PBX extension. I can even define how many parallel calls I want to do. So meaning how many customers I want to call in advance and how many times I want to try. So in this case, for example, I want to try 3 times until the customer, let's say, picks up and answers. And here I'm just setting up at what time I'm trying. So first round will be now, and then I will try to do the second round at 3 o'clock, and maybe the next one if some customer doesn't pick up, let's say tomorrow. So I can even copy the data from the previous campaign if I want to make it quicker, because I want to repeat. So I copy the campaign. The new campaign is prepared in the rating, and even my phone number is copied from the previous one. If I want to add the new phone numbers, we can integrate with the CRM system. So CRM system is pushing the list of the contacts to be called, or you can import them via Excel, CSV file of your choosing, or you can add them manually. So, for example, I will add another number, right? And the number will appear here. Once saved, I will then delete it, so I do not call. I can even provide the metadata for the phone number. So the phone number is saved. For the original one, let's say this is the original answer. So I will delete it because I copied the campaign, so I copied all the metadata. I will keep mine here. But for the new number, I can define the name, which then will be used at the beginning, for example. Once saved, when I trigger the campaign, all phone numbers based on the rules I have set up are being reached. So I will remove this number so we do not call someone random in case I had the luck with finding the right number, and we will try to call myself. Okay, so I just hit play and my phone will start to ring. Okay, so my phone is ringing and I will try to pick up and put it on hands-free.
I'm calling to check on you. How are you feeling today?
I feel okay, but I would need an advice about which phone is best to use.
Hi, Michael. I recommend considering an iPhone for its user-friendly interface, security features, and seamless integration with other Apple devices. Goodbye.
So basically what we did is we went through this advice section. Since I used the instructions to be, let's say, to prefer Apple, the voice bot preferred Apple and responded to my answer. What I see here, since I updated also the information back, I see that the phone numbers, the status I have provided is here. So advice or general answer was provided. Also, I see what was the answer for my let's say for the first question. So I said that I feel okay, but need an advice about which phone is best to use. We can update any information which was provided during the call, and then we can send the information to the CRM system, or we could export the information after the campaign is done, and so on. What even worse, and is usually very important with the outbound campaigns, the customer should be able to call back. Because usually, and also to get the very high numbers on the success rate of the reached numbers, customers usually don't have the time to pick up the phone at the time we want them. So they just, let's say, they send it to busy state, or they just do not answer. But then they see that they have missed call, and they are calling back. So it's very important to be able to call back, and to even update the conversation flow about the information. Thank you for calling back, etc. So again, it feels natural. So if I call the number again, I will hear.
Hello, Michael. I'm calling to check on you. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling very good. Thank you.
That's great to hear. My job is done then. Have a great rest of the day.
So now I call back. I went through the different flow, and let's say also even the campaign would be updated with the new information. So now let's say I changed the status to feeling good because I called back, and also my answer was this one. With the inbound calls, it's a little bit tricky. Which phone number, if you have more of them, campaign records you are updating. We are usually updating the last one, so the last campaign which was used to the contact number, because usually, let's say, people or customers are reacting to the last one. Okay, that's basically it from the demo, and we have a few, let's say, minutes for a Q&A.
Yes, we already have a few of the questions gathered in here. The first one is if the voice bot can get through the gatekeepers. I guess that's kind of meaning if they can maybe go through if they can recognize voice bots, or if they can go through, if you're calling maybe someone who's in the office and there's a receptionist or something like that.
Okay, so basically, it depends. Not sure whether I fully understand the question, but when you are building the voice bot, you are building a use case. So as we said, you need to know the customer, you need to know the use case and build accordingly. So if we, let's say, are calling for B2B customers, and the gatekeepers, we mean by that some, let's say, B2B contact, and we need the call to be handed over to someone else, we would need to, it is possible to build it. But you need to, let's say, think about, you need to build the use case at the beginning for the first question. Okay, am I talking with that one? Can you, let's say, forward my call to the person? Or let's say, can you tell me or give me phone number, or we can call, etc. So again, it depends on the use case. But once you can build up the logic, what should happen, then you can build the voice bot following that logic.
Okay, so I hopefully we answered that question. So let's go to the next one regarding the integrations.
So basically, with the integrations, actually, I don't think we had a system we were not able to integrate with. It just depends how complicated it is. So if you are having the systems which are open, and there are some REST APIs which are reachable from, let's say, outside world, then we can integrate easily, and it's basically a configuration within the flow. So within the flow, even business user, if he has the documentation about the API, can build the connectors. If you are not using REST APIs but have some different integration pattern, we can also work with that. We will just prepare for you a simple smart function, which will be taking care of the integration for you, and then you can use a smart function at any point of the conversation logic. If your integration or your backend systems, and we'll, let's say, also explain the next question, if your backend systems are not open to internet and cannot be open to internet, we can also build the platform on premise. But there are still some features which would need to be, as for example, large language models and speech to text, text to speech, which then would be still used from the cloud. But everything else will be deployed on premise. And let's say, talking about fully on premise, speech to text and text to speech can be deployed fully on premise, but we highly do not advise to do that, because you are losing quality. You are still paying for the service anyway, and actually the speech-to-text, text-to-speech providers that we are using are not storing the data, they are just processing them. So usually also from GDPR point of view in Europe, it's okay. And for the large language models, it's very, let's say, difficult to build the infrastructure to run the large language model on premise. What in this case, let's say, we are exploring is to building small language models, which then, let's say, need significantly less resources and can be run on premise. But then it's, let's say, specific custom implementation needed at your place.
Okay, perfect. So I think Mishi actually took 2 questions in one. So let's go to the next one. And this one is directly towards the showcase that you provided, that you built and that you show. It's about the delays of the answers. So the answers are quite a little delayed. Why? And is it possible for the bot to be a little bit quicker?
Yes, it is. Simple answer. I was using test environment, which is, let's say, a little bit overloaded on our side now. But the latencies, okay, the question about latencies. We are using large language models, which is basically takes some time to prepare an answer. Sometimes, and it's, let's say, we see that it's becoming much quicker and quicker, even with, let's say, because we are not using the most advanced large language models because they are not necessary and they are, let's say, expensive and they are taking a lot of time. So we are using some standard models where the response time is getting much quicker and quicker. And also on our environment, we are now tackling with the issue about the networking and stuff because we have the high load, so it will even get better, I would say, next week. But yeah, let's say in some cases, you still can have latencies on the voice, but if you are using, let's say, heavily large language models and you are having big prompts, a lot of information sent to the large language models, in that case, I didn't use it here, but what we support from the platform is, let's say, streaming of the response. So if the response would take longer, and usually this happens also to the human people. So if the question is complicated and answer needs a little bit time to prepare, then we can say, okay, I understand your question. I will prepare an answer. This can be said even during, let's say, the request to the large language model is being processed. And then when the large language models are sending response back, then we can turn on the streaming method with the voice bots. And then the response would be streamed sentence by sentence. So let's say like this, buying the time until the full response is prepared.
Okay, so we are actually almost out of time. So I also saw other comments. I apologize if there was no sound with the showcase of the lead management. We'll be providing the recording of this webinar and we'll make sure to include the voice recording of that so you can also hear it. But I believe that the one that you heard from Michal's use case and showcase was to give you a good enough impression on how it might sound. Pretty much, I would like to thank you all for attending and for being here with us, for giving us this 45 minutes of your time. And I hope we will be in touch. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us via LinkedIn or via email or via phone. So thank you all again for your time, and I wish you a very nice rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.